Hi, I'm Susan from Sunrise Quilt Studio, and today is part 3 of Wholecloth Trapunto quilting. And what I am doing now is quilting the Trapunto bat using a variety of templates that I have on hand. I'm using just anything that'll help me get a smooth curve around the design work that I have here. The thread is the water-soluble Vanish Extra, and I have the machine in stitch regulated mode, and I'm just taking my time and going around all of those curves in the design. And just use any template that you have. It doesn't have to be specific for applique or anything, just whatever will give you the smooth curves that you need. The machine is on stitch regulated, and that helps me slow down and get right on that line that is drawn there for the Trapunto. Now if you just have manual mode on your machine, you just need to slow the machine down. Turn your machine down to about 20 to 25% of the motor speed, or even slower, just whatever it takes for you to get that Trapunto done and help prevent the breakage of your thread. And just take your time and you'll have all of that done, and then you can go change your thread and move on to the regular quilting.
Okay, now I have all the work done with the water-soluble thread, and now it's time to cut away all the extra batting. So this is what the back side looks like. And I'm going to cut away this big chunk here. Being careful not to cut the top. Get that out of the way. Okay, now we have this basting thread that is all the way around here, and what we can do is just go ahead and snip this and pull it out, and then we can get to the rest of the batting. The rest of the stitching we can get around into there. So if you have a seam ripper, this is a good place to use it, or just use your scissors like I'm doing here. And what I'm going to do is pull this apart, and then I'm going to snip the bobbin thread, and then just keep going all the way around until we get this all done. Now the scissors that you want to use for cutting the big chunks of batting, I just use a pair of scissors. I use these for cutting batting, for any batting that I have, either poly or a cotton poly blend. I don't use my fabric scissors on batting, I use these. Now for cutting away the Trapunto, you need a pair of embroidery scissors, or snips sometimes they're called. You want one with a sharp point to get into tight corners, and you want them to be sharp. And I like the ones with a big hole in there so that my thumb does not get stuck in there, because I have a bit of arthritic knuckles and they're a bit large, so they get stuck in smaller holed scissors. So, and if you can find some that are cushioned, especially if you have a large project, that'll be an advantage to you. But these are the ones that I use, and they work well. I just have to give my fingers a rest, because where they hit right here, I will get sore right in there. Okay, we're done all the way around, so now we can start cutting away. Now I'm going to go ahead and get started with my big scissors. Okay, and then I'm going to go straight into this corner here, and we're just cutting away the batting. We're not, have to be very careful not to cut the fabric. And you just have to get as close to that stitching as you can, and just find a method that works for you. And I'll tell you, it's I have snipped quilts before, and there are ways to repair that, but you want to do your best not to do that. Let's see if Okay, I'm going to see if I can raise this up a little bit higher so you can see better. But go between the batting and the fabric and just cut close to that stitching line. And you're going to do this all the areas that you want cut away. All the areas that you do not want trapunto, you need to cut those away. And just be careful. If you feel like you're about ready to cut into the fabric, you probably are, so you want to stop and figure out where you're at and then go on. One way to fix this, if you do snip your fabric, is just put some really dense quilting in there, which you're going to do with trapunto anyway. You're going to do some dense quilting in your background, but you want to cover that section really well with quilting so that it won't show. And if it's a really big snip, what you can do is get a little piece of fabric and stick it underneath where the snip is and then quilt over that. So I'm just going to continue snipping and getting some of this batting out, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, I've got all of the trapunto done, all of the extra batting cut away. Here's the front, and you can see where it's a little bit wider is where the extra, where the batting is, where it's going to be trapuntoed, and then you can see where there is no batting there. And here's the back side. So this will be ready. Now I'm going to layer this with a backing, another batting. This is going to be soft and bright batting, and then I'm going to quilt it. And to cut away all of this batting from around the trapunto took me just a little over an hour, not quite an hour and a half. So I just took my time and got as close to the stitching as I could, and I got through the whole project without snipping the top, so I'm happy about that. So next step will be the quilting.